This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for Heart Mojo with Melinda Smith. And, you know, Melinda, you brought up a comment a few minutes ago as we were preparing to come live
Hmm.
that, sometimes when we have you scheduled, um, things just go very smoothly during the day, and the two of us get on early enough and we chit chat and then we go live. But the last couple times, things have been very hectic, but we've had
Hmm.
the best podcasts. And
That's
today,
right.
another one of those days.
Today
So,
was a hectic day. So this podcast is going to be awesome.
absolutely. And you have an awesome guest.
I do. I do. Her name is Deby Lexo. She and I have been friends for 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Been in a lot of different groups together. She has a company called Local Box, which for me, it's always been important when I'm working with people in the community to do local. So she can tell you a little bit about her business, and I want her to talk about why she decided to get into the business and any challenges that have come along, because I'm sure there have been many. And so for anybody who's listening to this as we go, be encouraged that you can be successful and wonderful and put out a wonderful product. You just got to keep working through those challenges. So Deby, thank you for being here.
Hi. Thank you for the invitation. It is my pleasure to be here. Melinda, it's wonderful to see you again. And Karen, it was so nice to meet you as
Same
well.
here.
Melinda, you have been one of my greatest supporters since the day we met. You live and breathe local,
I
and
do.
that's what we are all about. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate all your support, and obviously appreciate all the business that you've given Local Box over the years. So thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. So tell me a little bit how you got started. How did you decide to do this?
Well,
Well,
it's
first of
kind
all,
of
maybe tell people what you do. And then,
okay. I'd be happy to. Well, Local Box, first of all, promotes small batch local artisans. Local Box is a gifting service that serves the entire country, but specifically those who have a passion for Ohio. As you know, people that live in Ohio, particularly in the Northeast area of Ohio, have an incredible passion and support network for local. What Local Box does is we send out gifts that are um, comprised of small batch local artisans who work and live in Ohio. So what I normally say is, instead of putting maybe Smucker's jam into a gift box that we send out, we use the Tiny Jelly Company out of Garrettsville, Indiana. We use people that bake out of rental kitchens or their home-based kitchen. We use products that are made in someone's garage with woodworking or whatever it might be, as opposed to mass production. So we curate all of those, we put it together, and then we have these themed boxes that we send out primarily through the mail or through FedEx or UPS, depending on where it's going. And in each one of our gifts, we put in a handwritten note with the sender's message, and which is something that's not really done very often anymore. You know, people don't spend the time to handwrite, but
Mhm.
the message is so incredibly important. So that's what Local Box does. We've been in business for 7 years. And you asked how we got started, which is kind
Yep.
of an interesting story. When I moved here to the Cleveland area, to Chagrin Falls, many, many years ago from Chicago, I saw this amazing pride in local. Even way back then, I was just so surprised at how people supported, whether it was their local products or their local sports teams or their local businesses or whatever it might be, they supported local. That was one thing. The second thing that I noticed is every spring in Northeast Ohio, there are high schools and communities, fire departments that have pancake breakfast. They serve pancakes. They serve waffles. They serve, any type of breakfast item with their pure maple syrup. And it's drawn from the trees right here in Northeast Ohio. So we started going to those, and it was quite a community of people who put this on, and it's very successful. So I thought about this, and I thought, you know what? I wanted to do something that was a little creative, and something that was special and unique to our area to send to my friends and family during the holidays. So I put together a gift box that included the pancake flour, the pure maple syrup. I found a jelly company, and I found a coffee company. So I put those things together and I sent them out to friends and family. And I've been doing that on and off, more on, for many, many years. And people loved it. And then family and friends said to me, "Hey, Deb, I don't want to wait until Christmas to get another box from you. Would you send me the pancake mix and the syrup or whatever it might be? I want to celebrate a birthday, or I just want to have it for breakfast." So I thought, well, sure, I can do that. Now, I worked in corporate as I was doing this. So this was just for friends and family. Then come 2008, when the economy really had a struggle, my position was eliminated. Consequently, I was without a job. But it took me all of maybe 20 minutes to have that set in. And I thought, okay, no problem. I'll move on. I'll move on to the next thing, which then brought me to doing things that I really wanted to do. I was really excited about. And one of those things that I've always loved is gardening. So I went back to school at the Ohio State University, and I got my Master Gardener certificate. And I worked at that for a while, which was very interesting and very fulfilling, because it gave me a great deal of confidence that, yes, I can still learn. Yes, I can still be in a classroom. Anyway, going forward, then that kind of ran its course. Throughout this time, more and more people were asking me for the products that I had been sending. I was sending out more and more to friends and family. So come 2014, with the help of my daughter, Kimberly, who I call a professional entrepreneur, she started multiple companies. She and I decided, let's see what we can make of this. So she helped me to get my license, to apply for all of the things that I needed to apply for in a very short amount of time. In 2014, I started Local Box in October and ran my first holiday season.
Wow.
And that's how it all started.
So you had a challenge, right? You got downsized basically out of your company.
Yes, I did.
And you had to take a new road. And you, being the very upbeat, personable person that you are, decided to try gardening because it was a passion. Little did you know that this would work its way in and become your passion, right? To share what was local. I think that's really important for people. And believe me, I've been in that position before, and now I'm in it again, looking at, a change in a profession and, what direction do I go? So this was an amazing opportunity for you. And it just started by sending gifts to family, right?
Exactly. And at the time, people have said to me, well, why did you do that? Why didn't you just go and work for a competitor? Because I had been incredibly successful with this company for nearly 25, 30 years. But it was the economy that was in trouble. It wasn't my company. So
Right.
consequently, we were the largest in the world. Why would I go to a competitor when we were having problems? They obviously were having problems as well.
Right. Right.
So it forced me to make some decisions that were a little bit, quote, out of the box, a little different, not something that I had been trained to do. And that was fun, exciting, and scary all at the same time. So it was the good thing to do. It was the right thing to do.
Mhm.
And what I tell people now you know the history. I had been with that one company my entire career, was very comfortable at that position. So why would I start something brand new? Because it was a challenge and it was fun, exciting, different. And what I tell everybody now, it's never too late. Don't ever think you're too old, you don't know how to do it. It's never, ever too late. You just have to have a lot of backbone, a lot of confidence, and just go for it. Just try. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's not that you necessarily fail, is that maybe that's not the right avenue. That's not the
Right.
right product, might be not the right thing at that time. For me, it was. So, yeah.
By the way, she has a beautiful yard.
Yes,
Just
I
letting
saw her,
everybody
I
know.
saw her yard before we started. So one of the other things that I think is important to mention to the listeners is that it is okay to fail, because from failure we learn. And I'm sure there are a number of your artisans who maybe started out maybe baking cookies and maybe realize that, you know what, those that's not exactly what I want to do. So I'm going to try something else. And some people would look at that and say, well, hey, you failed at cookies. Now you're doing something else. No, you're
Mm.
not. You've learned through all that. And learning as we get older keeps us young.
Yes. Yes, Karen. Great point to make. Yes.
I
I
think,
have, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, as just to add on to what Karen was saying, I have artisans who have started with me from day one, and they were making a product and they thoroughly enjoyed making that product, but it wasn't what they needed to do at the time. You know, I have somebody who made granola for me, and now she's a travel agent. She needed to move on to something else. I miss her terribly. I had somebody that was making these awesome pecans for me, and she moved to Pennsylvania. They pretty much, it's not that they fail necessarily at what they were doing. It wasn't the right thing at the right time. And then when COVID hit, I had a number of artisans who said to me, if it weren't for Local Box, I would have had to close my doors.
Mhm.
Now, some of them have unfortunately had to anyway, because they just couldn't keep it up. But there's others that kept their doors open and they kept making their product because Local Box was able to help them and support them and promote their product. So,
Interesting.
you know,
I think that that's unique for your business is you get to share their stories, their triumphs, their failures, or their time to move on. I mean, maybe it wasn't necessarily like the person who moved to Pennsylvania, maybe that was just what she needed to do or he or she needed to do. And
mhm,
so it doesn't mean they failed. They moved to a different state. It
right.
was time to change what they were doing. But you get a unique perspective on seeing that locally,
I do.
I
I
think.
do. It becomes a family. You know, we talk about a couple of things. We talk about the Local Box family. And when a new artisan contacts me and they want to be part of Local Box, they have to fit a certain type of maybe personality as well as an awesome, awesome product. So the products always speak for themselves. They're top notch, they're fabulous tasting or incredibly well made. But the personality of the maker also needs to fit with what we call the Local Box experience. So I'm in a wonderful place. I mean, I'm so grateful for what I'm able to do and the relationships that I've been able to form with these artisans, and now from all over Ohio. I have an artisan in Cincinnati, a couple in Columbus. We're moving to Toledo And obviously, because I'm here in Northeast Ohio, the vast majority of the artisans also are from Northeast Ohio.
So how do they find you, or how do you find them?
Do you know, before COVID, I did a lot of farmers markets. And I would say I found them before they found me. And then I also had help from a local person here in Chagrin Falls. Her name is Kimberly Gibson. She owns Hungry Bee, and she was incredible at the onset, saying, you need to contact this person, you need to contact that person, you need to call them, here's their phone number, here's their email, whatever it might be. So she kind of helped me get off that ground floor. And then the other one was my daughter. When my daughter would fly up here from Atlanta and help me start, we would just research, like, who makes homemade jam? And then you'd call those people and see if they were interested. Now, I continue to do the farmers markets, but I would say probably most of my artisans now come to me. They have seen the success and they want to be part of, quote, the family.
Absolutely.
So most of your products, are they food related? Are they, because I've ordered many baskets, and we themed them over the years depending on what I needed them for. So do you go to some of the artisans, not the food portion, but the actual artists for like ornaments or other pieces that you would put in your supplies?
I do. I would still say that the majority of a local box is consumable. People like to eat. They want their snacks, and they want to support a small batch local artisan as well. But I have woodworkers who I've got people who do ornaments for me, or magnets for me, or keychains. I have cheese boards and cutting boards. I have a conversion chart, a kitchen conversion chart that's made out of bamboo. And then the conversion is actually printed on the wood itself. I have wooden spoons that have the outline of Ohio in the cup of the spoon itself. It's a mixing spoon. So, and I have spa products. I have soaps and lotions and essential oils. If you can think it, I probably have it or know how to get it.
So is there a challenge for you to get out to the actual business, B2B? I'm not talking about the artisans for you. I'm talking about, I own a company and I want my tchotchkes in there, right? I want my swag in there. How does that work for you?
It is a challenge getting to those businesses because, number one, I'm not here to teach a business about the importance of sending gifts to employees and or their clients. Sending gifts that's a whole nother story. You can read a book called Giftology. It's incredible feedback that you will get, the gains that you will get by sending a gift, no matter how large or how small, to an employee or to a client, is incredible. I'm not here to teach them. If they don't already know that, that's not my purpose. But actually finding the companies that already know the importance of gifting is challenging because you don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't cold call anymore. You don't go knocking on their door. So I would say 90% of my B2B is referrals. Once I get a referral, I usually keep them as a customer. They're usually there. Some of the businesses will find me on a Google search, which is great. And then year after year after year, they continue to do business with me.
Well, I met you through a networking group.
Right.
I met you through a networking group. And then the company I was with at the time, then I switched probably 98% of our business to you, gifting out to our clients. And we were able to give you a way to incorporate some of our items in there. I would bring you a box of those things and we'd put together 3 or 4 containers to go out, and we would add our things along with whatever the theme was for it. But I have kept you with every single business I've gone to.
And I appreciate that so, so much, Melinda.
You're welcome. But
So
I
very much.
recommend you all the time because, you know, you really, even during COVID, I mean, how did COVID affect you? Like, it seemed like you marched right through that challenge.
Mhm.
How did it go for you?
Well, COVID hit in March of 2020. And I now look back, and that was my Christmas of 2020. Because obviously, when you're in a gifting business, the best time of the year is during the holidays. Well, I felt that in March. Right from the beginning, people found Local Box on on the internet. People were looking for ways to, number one, send out gifts to their employees who were misplaced and all of a sudden had to stay at home, send out gifts to their clients who they wanted to stay in touch with, send out gifts just thinking of you, sending out family gifts saying, oh my gosh, we can't be together for your birthday. I miss you. You know, here's a little bit of Cleveland, or here's a little bit of Northeast Ohio, whatever it might be. Starting March through the end of 2020 was by far the best year I've ever had. And
Wow,
quite frankly, in 2021, we're keeping up with last year.
that's awesome.
It's just getting the word out.
Well, and don't you believe that we are in a different mindset now? That number one, most of us like to shop online because it's one less place we have to go get exposed. But number two, we know that we're helping each other. And that's what I've noticed is that I've been doing more of that for my family. My family has never been a big gift giving. Gift giving was get together, give a big hug, have a meal together, and that was special. But we haven't been able to do that. And so I have found local things. I have a brother in New York, and there's a company somewhat similar to what you're doing. And so I send him things from there. And he finally has told me he has enough and he's getting fat. But, you know, so I told him, well, then gift it to somebody else. And that is the nice thing. And that's what he has done now. So we want to help other people. And when we do that, it makes us feel good.
You're right, Karen. You're right. You know, do you feel special? Do you feel like you've done something good when you give a gift to someone?
Oh, absolutely.
Right. It's sometimes a greater satisfaction when you can give a gift as opposed to receiving a gift.
Right.
There's some psychological thing that's going on. And I mean, it's great to receive a gift. Yes, it is. Absolutely. You love to feel special. You love to feel like you're thought of. But when you give a gift, it's there are endorphins that are going off in
Yeah.
your head and going, this is a good thing. This makes me happy.
Definitely. So as you've moved forward through COVID, which I imagine when COVID hit, you probably thought, oh my God, what's going to happen
Oh,
to my
absolutely.
business?
Oh my gosh.
You know, like, oh, you know, and instead it took off, and not all businesses were lucky enough to have that happen to them. I mean, home improvement businesses did because people were stuck in their house going, oh my God, I need to fix this if I'm going to be stuck in the house, right?
Right.
So, you know, this was probably a big fear you had going into that. And ultimately, it had a blessing piece to you as well. So, but did you ever look at it, even getting the product? So, you know, was it challenging to get the products from the individuals? Because again, we weren't really going out. You'd have to, I think when I picked up something from you, you left it outside. I left the money there. It was kind of like a
yeah.
little transaction, a little drug transaction on the side there. So did you find that challenging to get through, to get the items that you needed to put the baskets together? Did people question that, putting the baskets together? Did you have that as an issue or no?
Surprisingly, no. No, I really did not. And Here's the fortunate thing. I had a staff of people that had come in right before COVID, especially for the holidays in 2019, but they're seasonal people. So I was very uncomfortable having anyone in my home. I have a home office and I didn't want anyone here. Now, my husband, who travels literally every week for his business, couldn't. He was stuck at home and he was adjusting to something that he had never experienced before.
Mhm.
Well, guess what? He helped me.
I was going to say you put him to work, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely did. And he took care of all of my inventory. He took care of assembling my boxes, stamping. He did all these kinds of things that I was doing, which then made me much more efficient, much better system. And we just worked together really, really well. So I didn't have anybody else helping, but we just got him out. We just did it. But fortunately, they knew me or they knew the business and they didn't question the how I was doing it. They just appreciated the fact that
Mm.
I was writing the handwritten notes, I was getting them out. So it all worked. As far as meeting the artisans, that was interesting because we were doing these deals in the parking lots. Fortunately, I would call them or I would email them. I need 100 boxes of granola and I need them in 2 weeks. I was trying to give them more notice than they normally took. And we would meet them in grocery store parking lots. And we would be masked up and do all the right things, but they would pass it on to me. I would pay them and I'd take it home. And then in the early days, we were concerned about, is COVID transferred on
Item.
objects? Yes.
Mhm.
So we would leave it in a specific place and wait the time, wipe things down. And yeah, we did everything right. We did everything we were supposed to do.
Was
And
there
my
ever
artists were great. Mm.
was there ever any concern that these products being made in homes, um, that everything was being taken care of? Um, because I know during that period of time, I was making batches of chocolate chip cookies and sending them to friends all across the United States. And I had two friends who refused to touch them. Not that they didn't trust me, but they said maybe there was a possibility I didn't wash my hands properly or I didn't wear gloves. So, you know, did did any of your customers feel that way? Or you
That's
didn't
so
hear?
interesting because I really never thought about it, Karen, because my customers don't receive the product. It's their
Their
customers,
customers. Got it.
their employees,
Their family.
their friends.
Mhm.
So if that happened, trust me, my customers never knew it because those people didn't come back to my customers and say, hey, I got a local box. I didn't open it because I was concerned. Never heard that. Not even once.
Well, or they did exactly what you did. Maybe they got it and they put it aside for a couple of days and then opened it
Mhm.
up.
Right. And to that point, because everything in a local box is fresh, it wasn't an issue.
Got
Right.
it.
The shelf life is incredibly important. So if they did decide to leave it someplace for a period of time and they did open it, those cookies were still fresh. That popcorn was still fresh. Those biscottis were still fresh because all of the products are so fresh to begin with. Quote, not like grocery store
Yeah.
items.
Right.
Got it.
We have a shelf life set up out there with, right?
We won't even go there. Right. Right.
So did you at any time think, I know you have a website, right?
I do.
So first of all, tell us your website so the
Okay.
listeners hear it.
The website is www. Now this part's important. Local box, and it's spelled LOCLEBOX.com. And let me tell you why. When I was developing the name, I knew I wanted it to be local, and I was sitting at the Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and the CLE is the Cleveland Hopkins Airport symbol.
Mhm.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I could do this. Local doesn't have to be LOCAL. Local is going to be, from that day forward, LOCLE.
I
So
love
that's
that.
how I came up with it.
That's a great way. I never knew that. I don't know why
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And for the listeners, I accidentally sent her email to the LOCAL. So that's why we made sure that you know this for this process.
Right,
So
right.
on your website during the COVID situation, the lockdown, did you ever post anything about that? Like, did you make a post on there that said all of our products are following COVID protocol, that kind of thing?
I didn't say that exactly, but what I did make a comment about is the shipping. Because 90%, 95% of our local boxes are sent directly to a person's doorstep. So, as we all know, in December of 2020, our shipping was in trouble. And
Mhm.
it wasn't just USPS, by the way. They got the bad rap, but UPS, FedEx, everybody except maybe Amazon had issues with their shipping. And I'm going to tell you right now what I'm hearing, what we're all hearing. Anybody who is a shipper is hearing 2021 is going to be equally as
Difficult.
problematic, yes, as it was last year. So my advice to anyone listening who thinks they are going to send their gifts this year, send them early. And for those people that traditionally send gifts for the holidays, I strongly recommend that you start thinking about it now and send a gift at Thanksgiving time as opposed to December. And the reason why is because December is already backlogged. And why not have your gift on the conference room table at a company in November saying, thank you for your business. We are grateful for you, and being one of the first to have your gift being sent, not the last.
Yeah, that's a great idea so that people, you stand out. You stand out from everything else that comes along.
Exactly.
So,
Be the first, be the ones that they go, wow, I love this. This is really cool. Hey, look at all this stuff. Rather than, oh, here we got another gift. Okay, we have some more food. Put it on the conference room table. And then you don't even know who it's from.
right.
Exactly.
So how big, how small, can you give any listener the idea of, how small a basket could be to how large the box could be?
I can. And I would say that, supply chain is really struggling right now. And everything is going up in price. So I would say probably the least amount that you should think about is $50. And then add shipping onto that.
Mhm.
In order to get a pretty nice gift. Anything much less than that is really, I guess, just
It's a little
not
small
substantial.
appetizer of what
Yeah.
you can do.
There
It's
you go.
not
There
really
you go.
dinner.
Here's the other thing. I strongly recommend that if people want to put their own companies, want to put their own swag in it, do it. Melinda, like you did, you
Mhm.
would bring me 50 of several items.
Cutting boards and pens and yeah.
Right, right. That's so incredibly important so that it distinguishes you and your company from anybody else's. So put your things in there. I pack it beautifully
She
in and
does.
around everything else that I have to offer, and then ship it out. So in answer to your question, I would say consider $50, and then we've gone up as much as 500. $500 is a substantial box, and the people that buy those usually come and pick them up, and then they hand deliver them.
Mhm.
as
I was
opposed
going to bring
to-
that up, that, not everything has to be shipped.
Nope,
They
right.
can work out a way to pick it up, which is what I've pretty
That's
much
what you
done.
did.
Yeah, for everything.
Right,
Because
right.
we use them for local, clients, or as a thank you to somebody else that's local. Like the last one I did from you was for an executive director, and everybody got together, put in money as a thank you, and it was at the holidays. So we put ornaments in there, something that he could enjoy with his whole family. It wasn't
Yes,
just for him. So it was for his family. And by the way, they loved it. I think I did call and tell you
you
that.
did. Yes, you
did
did.
love it.
Yes, you did. You know,
And
that's
it,
so funny. I don't often hear how the end user likes their product. I try to always follow up with my customer and say, hey, just want to let you know that I checked on it. It was received, it was delivered. Did you hear how they liked it? And I would say I've never heard of someone who didn't.
well, she always hears from me because I
Yes.
always let her know. And I use a lot of these for auctions and raffles and things like that as well, because you want to raise money for something. And though somebody invests in purchasing it to put it into the auction, it really pulls a nice dollar because it's unique.
Mhm.
We have a lot of gift cards. Everybody loves gift cards, and you can put a gift card in there if you'd like. I've done
Sure.
that as well with you. But the idea is to have it be something unique where you put some thought into it. I think
Right.
that's what's really important about what you do. The challenge in gift giving is being unique, is finding a
Absolutely.
way to give somebody something that matters. And I always try to find out something about my clients when I have them so that it's personalized. And you can do that.
Absolutely.
Most places you go in, you just buy whatever's there. They have nuts and candy and maybe a bottle of wine or some fruit, and that's it. But
Mhm.
you can personalize it to the individual based on what knowledge is given to you. You find the items. I mean, you've done it for me many times.
Right, right, exactly.
So that's to me a big challenge, and something that you overcome for people is finding that special gift.
Something that
Working.
we're doing that's very unique this year, which I'm super excited about, is we're doing subscription boxes. So
Hmm.
we've done this for auctions where people have purchased the auction item, and I put a sample box together, and depending on where their budget is, we then will send out a gift box of various products once a month or once a quarter.
Oh, that's great.
And that has brought in so much money for fundraisers.
I love
Yes,
that.
Absolutely.
Truly is a
Yeah,
gift that keeps
yeah.
on giving. I mean, it's fun because they never know what they're going to get month after month after month. They still get the handwritten note, but they get something that's very special.
I love that. How does that run in the price range for people who are listening?
Well, just have, in fact, this evening, someone is picking up a box. They're doing it quarterly. So $75 per box. The total is 300.
Right.
And that includes shipping and tax. And what we've done so far is we ship only to Ohio, an Ohio address, one
Mhm.
address, unless they contact me and they want to send it to someplace other than Ohio, then
Mhm.
I tell them what the shipping is. They pay for all the shipping directly to me up front, and then we just send it wherever they want.
So one box could be a breakfasty thing, and the next one could be, soaps and
Mhm.
lotions and things like that. That's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun to not
yeah.
know what you're
And
going
then
to
the
get.
next one could be a cutting board.
Right.
Yeah, it's whatever, quite frankly, whatever I want to put in the box. And I really think about the person, like,
Right.
who is this going to? Is it going to a female? Is it going to a male? How old are they? Do they have any dietary restrictions? And then I make notes of all this so that it's really personal to that person. So that's what I would say. That one was $75. The one that Geauga Growth Partnership purchased
Mhm.
was a $900,
Oh,
and that's once a month. And I think that one was $75 as well. But that one's going once a month.
that's great.
How
That's a
wonderful.
fun thing to do.
Mhm.
So see, and this whole show's about challenges, so that's why I bring it up a lot, because that's, how do you grow and how do you continue to grow in your business? And you're finding new ways to hit that challenge, right, for growth. Because even though you always provide new and unique things and your artisans change, you still have to find something like just a little bit different, right, to offer. And that's what that does. That's great. I love it.
It does, but the biggest challenge I have is finding new customers. That truly is. I can create these fabulous gifts all day long, but I can't create a business who needs these products. And that's why referrals is so incredibly important.
Well, and it's important for people to remember. One of the things that I have found has happened in business is this is what they cut first. Instead of remembering that this is probably the most important piece for them to continue to have their client, for them to continue to get referrals, is to thank those people for
Mhm.
being your customer, for doing the things that they do for you. They cut this first. So I think that that's one of the things, anybody who's listening, if they work at a company, if they have their own company, don't take away that, because that makes all the difference. And like you said, the handwritten note, and I think it makes all the difference in a business for people. People remember that you remember them.
Yes.
So, Debbie, I have a question. So,
Yeah.
our podcast is not just for Ohio, as you know. So, we're going to have people all over the United States. And we have listeners, I know for sure, in Australia and France, because I keep getting emails from them. If somebody from outside of Ohio wanted to connect with you and, you know, give somebody, there is a way that you would work with them, even though they can't come pick it up. They could pay in advance for the shipping and things like that.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. I would say, other than Ohio, my largest client base is Florida, California, and New York State.
Okay.
I don't know why, but they order from me. I have people calling, not a lot, but oftentimes from LA, because they love the local Midwest
Honey,
theme.
Yep.
yeah, the honey and all of that.
Right.
Because you're near Amish country, so I'm sure you pick up some
Yes.
things out that direction as well. Well, Florida is an Ohio place. I mean, people go to Florida from Ohio, right?
That's true. That is true.
So, and
I
you're
will.
on the east side, so you have a lot of New Yorkers, right?
Mhm.
On the east side of Cleveland. So
Yes.
I
True.
think that's
True.
why.
One thing I will tell you, it's a huge challenge to ship internationally.
Right.
And I'll just mention to your listeners that what I've learned is when you send something outside of the United States, once it leaves our borders, you have lost control. You have no control. So I learned that the hard way. I shipped to France, Switzerland, England, Scotland, Mexico, and Canada. And now I've come to the realization that the only way that I can really have control and guarantee that something's being delivered is to ship to Canada. And I cannot ship outside the United States anywhere else.
Okay.
It's just terribly difficult.
I
So
And
if somebody wants to do that, they have to take that on themselves. They have to pick
they
up
are
the box from
welcome.
you.
Yes, I will send it to their home and they can resend it or they can pick it up. That's not a problem at all. But I had a woman wanted to send her nanny's family a thank you gift for sending their daughter to the United States to become a nanny. And her budget was $50. She didn't want to spend any more than $50. The shipping was $115 to Brazil.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
$115. And that took a lot. I mean, that took over 2 hours of my time researching it. And then we came to the realization that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Right.
Doesn't make sense. Write a nice note. Say thank you.
Yep.
But to send a gift didn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, as we're going to wrap up for today, what I always ask people is what kind of message do you want to leave to somebody listening who either is maybe thinking about starting a business, because we started out talking about that, and then finish up with, again, the way they can contact you.
I would love to address that because the number one thing, and I mentioned it earlier, it's never too late. So don't think you're at a certain age you can't, because you can. The second thing I will tell you is don't think positively. I hate to start off by saying don't. Think positively. Don't wait for all your ducks to be in a row. Don't wait for all your I's to be dotted and your T's to be crossed. Just do it. It will all come together. And as this is a process and you learn by doing, if you choose to wait until everything is perfect, it will never, ever happen.
You're right.
Yeah.
So you're not too old. It's never too late. And don't wait. Just do it. Do the smart thing. I mean, get your license, for example.
Right.
Get a certain number of products or whatever you're doing. Just do it.
Well,
And
I sort of
around-
did that here.
Yeah.
With Karen. She pushed me to do the podcast. I waited a year. So I get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My advice is surround yourself by people who support you and believe in you and go for it. Do it. You will find so much joy, so much satisfaction, and so much confidence in what you do because you did it.
And
Well, and you have a passion.
you'll be able to ask your husband to help you when you need help.
Yes.
Little does he know when he retires, he's not ever going to retire. You're going to continue to do this.
Well, Linda, you're right. He's out of town right now. He is thinking about retiring, to be quite honest, but I'm sure he's not thinking about he's going to be working for Local Box.
Little does he know, though.
Little does he know.
But
right?
you know what? Before we do close, I think it was a cementing piece. I mean, you've been married a long time, thankfully, right? But
Mhm.
COVID hurt a lot of relationships. For you, I think it was a strengthening piece, right?
I agree with you. We celebrated our 49th wedding anniversary in
Oh,
August.
How wonderful.
I know, kind of hard to believe.
Time
Hard to
goes
believe
quickly.
that I'm at that age, by the way.
You can't be. You were a
Can't
child
be.
bride.
Right,
Child
absolutely.
bride.
I was.
Robbing the cradle, I know, at 13.
Exactly. But if anybody listening wants to get a hold of me, please, I would say 85% of my business is custom, except in the month of December. Then it's strictly whatever's off the website. But call me, go to the website first and kind of get an idea of the kinds of things that we have. The website again is www.localebox.com. Call me. I'm Deby Lexow, Lexow. My phone number, and I always answer my phone unless I'm on the other line, 216-870-1365. I will customize a gift perfectly for your client, your employee, your friend, or your family. We'll curate it together. We'll work within your budget, and they'll love it.
And you'll create a wonderful, fantastic item. I can speak from personal experience.
Thank you, Melinda.
It
I
is
appreciate
wonderful.
that
Do you have a
support.
social media outlet for what you do? Are you on Facebook or
LinkedIn.
Instagram?
Right.
LinkedIn,
I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, and I'm on Facebook under Local Box.
under Local Box.
Right.
Awesome.
Right. All right.
Thank you so much for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my
and
pleasure.
I will be
pleasure.
seeing
Thank
you in
for
the next few
invitation.
weeks. to pick up my gift box that I'm taking for a conference. So
And thank you for your business.
thanks.
Melinda, it's greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Karen,
Thanks,
lovely
Deanna.
to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, and thank you for letting me have a glimpse of your garden, because we'll have to share that on another podcast because it is beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
you did it with your own two hands. So
I did. That's another podcast. We can talk about master gardeners.
I love
Absolutely.
that. All
That'd be
right.
great. Thanks. Have a
Take
great
care,
night.
everybody.
Ladies,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.